So to start, could you just explain your job, where you work, state your name?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Patricia Blodgett, and I'm a high school teacher at Portland High School. I teach mathematics and computer science, and I've been teaching for 19 years.
What did you do for your education leading up to your job?
I went to undergraduate at Bucknell University, and I actually was a math major with a computer science minor. And at the time, I always thought teaching could be a possibility, but I actually went to school for business. And then I went into working. I worked at Bell Atlantic in Pennsylvania for 3 years. And then I went to United Health Group in Hartford for 10 years. So I was a career changer to become a teacher. I actually had small kids, and I always knew that I liked working with kids, and I loved math and computers. So I thought, maybe it's a good time to become a teacher. So my path was a little different than some teachers, or probably most teachers. I did something called the alternate route to certification. And I was working in the industry, and then I applied to that program, and I went to school all summer and student taught. And then my first job teaching was at Portland High School, and I started teaching in the fall. And then I had to go through more certification requirements while I was teaching and get my master's. But a lot of students will actually go to school for teaching and do like a 5-year program where they get their undergrad and master's in teaching, and maybe some extra work in their subject depending on what grade they're teaching, and then go right into teaching. So my path was a little bit different, but it worked out really well. And then I had all the math background and computers background, and just really needed the work in learning how to be a teacher and how to plan curriculum, and how to, interact with students and kind of student needs and things like that. But it's worked out really great for me. So yeah, that's my background.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
I'm really, most of my time is spent in instruction, depending on which classes I have, but it's also a lot of planning. So, with a lesson, when I'm, planning a lesson, I want to make sure I understand what the goals are. And a lot of that's defined by the Common Core of mathematics and my curriculum, my specific curriculum. So like in Algebra 1, I'm getting ready to plan my curriculum on systems of equations. And I've taught it so many years before. So really, I look at what my goal is and what I think I can accomplish in a class period. And I make sure that's really clear to the students. And then I'll work on usually some sort of warm-up activity, reviewing old material, or just, getting their interest. And then I'll plan, the bulk of the instruction part, and what kind of discussion will go on, what kind of practice problems, how I want them to take notes, or maybe it's a discovery activity. And then usually some sort of wrap up, and that might be a class lesson. And then of course, I'm always thinking about how I'm going to assess that they've mastered these skills or not, what kind of practice I'll have them do. So that's kind of the planning part of it. But then, during the school day, it's grading, it's interacting with students, it's helping them. That's when I'm not actually teaching the class. So there's a lot of, students that'll drop in, and, questions on email about what do they need to do, or just giving them extra help. So my day is pretty full. Most teachers are. It's kind of like boom, 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 boom. And then there's a lot of work, if you're thinking about being a teacher, there's a lot of work that you end up doing in the evening, because oftentimes you don't really get to do the planning during the school day. You're spent teaching and interacting with students. So you do a lot of that planning at night and a lot of that grading at night. So you guys are home doing your homework. I'm home planning for what I'm going to do with you over the course of the next week or two.
What's your favorite part of your job?
Probably having fun with the students. I love it in the middle of a class. I probably could be a teacher that gets a little distracted sometimes, but I really like to see if I can make them laugh or try to pique their interest in mathematics. So I love the interaction with them, and I love it when I can kind of tell that a light bulb goes off in their heads, or they finally get something and they're like, oh, I can do this. And then they feel good. Like that makes me feel good, that they feel good. That's the best part, is the interaction with the students, especially when you think they're learning. Like that makes you so happy, because there's not always a ton of, you get feedback and stuff, but like the positive feedback is when the students are happy and they're learning, and that makes you feel good. That's what I want.
What's your least favorite part of your job?
Probably the grading. Like, it's really, once you've written the assessment, and it's not like English where you get to read their writing and stuff like that. It's really going through, and did they get the problem right, and can they show their work for math? So it's not that exciting. Sometimes it's discouraging if they didn't do as well as you wanted. I don't mind grading when they're all getting it right. Then you're like, yay, I did it. So probably the grading, maybe some of the bureaucracy, like taking attendance, and I just want them all to be there all the time, but that's not realistic.
What drew you to your career? Like, what really made you know that you wanted to be a teacher?
Um, well, I think, I was in the business world, and it was really difficult to manage when I had little kids. And so I really thought about, all right, what do I want to switch my career to? And teaching was always in the back of my head. And I don't think I want to be anything other than a high school teacher, because I really like kind of the student that's growing up to be a mature adult, and they're starting to think about what they want to do. So being able to interact with them. And then of course, I like mathematics. I mean, there is gray, but it's a lot of black and white, and you can, learn how to do it, and then you can do it. So, and you get an answer. So I kind of like that part of math. And then just recently, well, maybe it's now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I started teaching computer science. And that's been a really fun part, because it's new. It's, computers have been around a long time, but computer science is changing all the time. And when I have students in that class, it's so new to them that it's not like I'm bringing up old stuff. Like in math, it circles around, but with computers, it's all new, and they're creating, and it's so I know I'm kind of changing where you took this question, but it's been really fun having brand new curriculum to work on with students, and it's maybe a little more elective like with computer science. So that's been kind of cool. So I've been happy with it.
What are some important qualities you think someone would need to be a teacher?
So I think you have to be organized, because there is so much on your plate. You have to be friendly and empathetic, and that's the wrong word, but kind of understanding with students, and patience, because they're coming from all different places, and they're not necessarily gonna get it, and you have to be flexible and willing to like kind of work at a different way. Like your plan might be perfect in your mind, but it may not work, and so you have to be ready to kind of change things on a dime and figure out a new way. So I guess flexibility, organization, and creative. You have to really think about how you're going to kind of get this whole class of students who are all coming at different places involved and ready to kind of learn the material and find a way to make it accessible to them. So I guess creativity, flexibility, and organization.
Is there anything you would like to share with someone who may be interested in becoming a teacher?
Yeah, I think it's a great profession. It's fulfilling every day. It's different every day. So you're always on the move. I mean, if you want an active job, teaching is it. And it challenges you. Um, it can be really rewarding. It can be really discouraging at times, but it really can be rewarding. So definitely go for it. And there's so much opportunity out there, like um, different levels of students, different levels of age, different subjects. So there's kind of the opportunity for teaching with all different kind of backgrounds, and so you definitely should consider it.
And we're all done with the interview questions, but I was just wondering if you ever taught like kids that were not high school students.
You know what? I haven't. So when I was in my job, like before I became a teacher, I did a lot of education pieces. So that was, adults in a job. But really, I've never done the little kids. And I've taught middle schoolers too, a little bit. Like, we had a middle school robotics club, so you could argue that was a little teaching. And I've been a Girl Scout leader, so you could argue I've taught there. But really, in my career, I've only been a high school teacher.
Okay, well, that's all the questions we have. So
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
coming.
Good.